GE2020, Fair or Foul, by Bertha Henson. Preface. I've always been told that I should write a book detailing my experiences as a member of the media, first among the newspapers in the Singapore Press Holdings stable, and later as the founder of two websites, Breakfast Network and The Middle Ground. People are interested in the ins and outs of a media operation, and its dealings with newsmakers and the government. I don't think I can do better than my old boss, Cheong Yip Seng, whose book OB Markers, My Straits Times Story, details that fragile relationship between the press and the government. So this is not a tell-all. Instead, this book is about the Singapore electoral system and its lesser-known aspects, with GE2020 as its focal point. I have always involved myself in political journalism, writing columns on my blog, Bertha Harian, and now teaching at the National University of Singapore's Communications and New Media Department in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. As a professor of practice, I thought it would be a great experience for aspiring journalists to report and do research to help voters navigate the coming general election. The portal Class Notes is the result of a year's work by a dozen students who combed through electoral maps, legislation and parliamentary records and pounded the pavement in neighborhoods and the halls of parliament to see political work in action. Although GE2020 was called just after they graduated, some have continued to help me in reporting and writing about the election. Having reported and observed Singapore's elections since 1988, and with Class Notes reporting and research in hand, I thought this would be a good time to talk about the uneven playing field and the meaning of the vote. It is my hope that over time, the inequities of the system will be erased, lest future generations of citizens lose heart in the role they play in the well-being of the country. Bertha Henson. Chapter 1. Shifting Goalposts. I was at the People's Action Party, or PAP's, Anson branch the day news broke that the constituency would be wiped off the Singapore electoral map. That was 14th June 1988. Ng Pok Tu, then 43, who had lost the Anson fight against the Workers' Party, or WP's, J.B. Jeyaretnam in the 1984 general election, was standing straight and stiff-backed, doling out consoling words to mournful-looking party activists. Regret and frustration were written all over his face. The thick, black-rimmed spectacles couldn't hide the sign that tears were threatening to well up in his eyes. Anson had been broken up into 4 pieces: Kereta Ayer, Radin Mas, Tanjong Pagar, and Tiong Bahru. Ng was moved to Nee Soon Central's single-seat ward. He won the election, but served only 1 term before he was defeated by Singapore Democratic Party, or SDP's, Chiu Chai Chen in the 1991 general election. After that, Ng left politics altogether. That power to create, carve up and erase constituencies lies in the hands of a small group of civil servants who report to the Prime Minister's office. They are appointed to pore over the electoral map to see if it was still appropriate for the next election. In the days of a one-party parliament and single-member constituencies, or SMCs, their work was less of an issue with voters. But this voter acceptance or complacency started to change when the electoral innovation of group representation constituencies, or GRCs, was introduced in 1988. More angst surfaced when GRCs ballooned in size from 3 to 4 in 1991, and then up to 6-member teams in 1996. The boundary changes do not disrupt people's lives on a day-to-day basis. Citizens needed only to know if the name of their constituency had changed and where they had to go to cast their vote. At most, they see new signboards and are told which
Sample complete. Ready to continue?